the transformation economy. This is what this keynote is about. Hello, my name is Christophe Jauquet. I'm an author and a keynote speaker. I travel around the world to inspire conferences and companies about the future of health, business, and technology. You can also call me business strategist for a healthier, more sustainable future. At the core of everything that I do is one single belief, and that is that health and happiness are the single most important things in our life. And so every day what I do is I study trends in society, technology, and business, and I look at how these impact our health and well-being. Now I also do the opposite. I look at how our behaviors in health and well-being potentially influence trends in society, technology, and business. So every 2 weeks, you can read my newsletter which talks about all of these trends out there. And eventually, these trends end up in books. And I've published 2 books. One is called Healthhusiasm, and the other one is Trends in the Transformation Economy. Healthhusiasm specifically talks about why people are more occupied with their health, what this means for companies, and how these companies can actually make their customers healthy and happy. Trends in the Transformation Economy goes one step further. It looks at the entire economy as a new economic reality in which transformations create the most meaningful value for customers, the transformation economy. And this is exactly what I'll be talking about here today. But to get you to understand why these transformations are so important, I'd like to take you to an island called Pala. Pala is in the middle of the Indian Ocean. I think the closest mainland should be Sumatra. The cool thing about Pala is that it's been isolated a long time from civilization, from the world that we know. And so the inhabitants of Pala, they actually live in a certain way. They live very close to nature, they live very sustainably, ecologically, responsibly, and they have a very close relationship with that nature. They also live in society in a very harmonious way. They think of the other first. And when it comes to themselves, it's about self-fulfillment. It's about mindfulness. This is how the people, the inhabitants of Pala, live. Does it sound too good to be true? Well, it is. Because Pala was actually from the book Island from Aldous Huxley. And you may know Aldous Huxley from another book, which is called The Brave New World. The Brave New World came out in 1932, and it talked about if you will, a dystopian future. It talked about how people are over-reliant on technology. It talked about how people really needed happiness drugs to survive, to remain happy in their lives. It talks about how society lost a lot of individuality, how people were not themselves anymore, and how healthcare basically was a mean to just control the society in itself. It was a very dystopian future, written by Aldous Huxley in 1932. It was his most popular book. So it's quite surprising that 30 years later, that Aldous Huxley, for his last book, wrote Island, which is actually a utopian future, which is actually the entire opposite of what A Brave New World was. And interestingly enough, what in the first 15, 20 pages of the book always came back was one single word. It was the word attention. It's very interesting because the person, the main character, arrives at this island thinking about his mails, thinking about his phone, thinking about all the things that he needs to do, his to-do list and all of that. And every time there's this one voice calling for attention. Attention, here and now. This is the words that always come back in the 15 first pages of that book. Because we need to pay attention to what is happening. And I think this is exactly what Aldous Huxley wanted to point out, actually. Because we need to pay attention to what is happening. We are living in such a high-speed society that potentially we might end up in that brave new world. We need to pay attention to the here and now. And the reason why I showcase both of these books and the differences between these books here and now at the beginning of this keynote is because I believe that we need to pay attention to the here and now as well. Because we are at the tipping point between the multi-crisis world that we've created and the healthy, more sustainable one that we aspire to live in. This is an interesting thing to think about. We are in between those books. We are at that tipping point. Because if you look at it, our world is in crisis. Our world has some major crises going on. We have the climate crisis. We have resource crisis. We have crisis even in biodiversity. We have an economic crisis, and we have social and political conflicts. We have public health crisis, think about COVID, but also obesity. We have a mental health crisis, and we, even in some parts of the world, have major food crises. These are a lot of crises to deal with. So it's not really a surprise, if you will, that at Davos 2023, polycrisis was the word that was most mentioned. In 2022 in the UK, it was even the word of the year. Now, some people say that it's exaggerated. We're not in a polycrisis. It's always been that way. Other people say that, we are really in that polycrisis situation. And I'm not here to debate that. The only thing that I can tell you is that right now, we live and we look at the world through a magnifying glass. And so all of these crises passes through our screen, through that magnifying glass every day. Steve Jobs said when he launched the iPhone, this is your life in your pocket. So if you look at your life in your pocket and you see all of these crises, it's but logic that we feel that there's a lot of crisis going on. And this is how people feel. And I think this is important. Now, not everything is bad about technology, right? It's not only, you don't only look at the bad things that are happening. Technology provides you with a lot of powers as well. We live in a world where if you want to run, well, you have a lot of technology that can help you maintain. Running is the oldest sport in the world. You put your shoes on and you start running. But never before have people run that much, that good, that long. Never before have people had so many perseverance to continue running. And that's because we have technology. We have social engagement. We have special clothing. We have specific shoes that are made for us or actually are perfectly fit for our type of feet. We have different types of motivational tools. We know how we put our feet, what the cadence is, what the balance is, the instability, and so forth. We know what to eat. We know what to wear. We know what to do. We have technology to actually turn running into a personal science. And thanks to all of that, we are now capable of doing things that previously was perhaps not possible. Think of Eliud Kipchoge. What did he do? He actually managed to run a marathon under 2 hours, something which previously we thought was never possible. And we were able to do that because of technology. He was wearing these kind of shoes, which now everybody can buy online. And thanks to these shoes, he gained 2%. They're called the alpha flies, but there's 2% next to it very often if you look online. And this is a huge advancement if you look at technology. On the left side, you see the first Nikes, the Harry Jerome Nikes, and now you see the vapor flies that you can buy online now. Technology allows us to do a lot of things that previously we were not able of doing. Technology is cheaper. We can buy any type of tools which previously were only reserved to professionals. And if you want to know how to work with those tools, you can go online and learn it. And you can easily reach a large audience with technology. Technology allows us to become who we want to be. We can do it yourself. We can own that power. We really, thanks to technology, have a lot more power than we used to have. And that's why if you look at this multi-crisis, this polycrisis world, people want to transform things. They want to transform themselves, they want to transform society, and they want to transform the planet. And you may say, well, it's always been a bit like that. True, but there's a big difference because the things that we want to transform today are entirely different than in the past. Let me go through each of these transformations a little bit to showcase how things have changed dramatically. And I want to start with personal transformation and look at one thing specifically, and that is aging. If you look at aging, things have changed dramatically. Go back 150 years. Go back 150 years, and you know that people did not want to look poor. Today, people don't want to look old. That's a big difference. It changes how people go about life. And indeed, if you look at the consequences of that, is that the global anti-aging products market is growing massively. This is what we see today, because people don't want to look old. There was a wonderful meme a little while ago, I think it was in 2022, where somebody said, it's unbelievable unbelievable how things change in 30 years. This is how somebody from 45 years old looked like in 1995. I am 45 years old. I hope I really don't look like that. The way that people go about looking and how they age has changed. People don't want to look old anymore. But we even went further. Aging is not just about not wanting to look old, it's also about not wanting to feel old. And more, if you go online, you can find these type of people where they have a great influence on how other people behave. They showcase how every day they work out. This is an 82-year-old person with 500,000 followers on Instagram. This is how we change. People don't want to feel old anymore. It started in the 80s with Jane Fonda, who made sure that people start moving. And that generation today is a generation who made weightlifting popular with elderly. Old is the new black. And it's no longer about anti-aging, it's about aging well. Because we no longer focus just on not looking old, it's about not feeling old. It's about aging well. And that is a big change. But again, it doesn't stop there. The way that we go about aging changes and continues to change because we don't want to be old anymore. I don't know if you're familiar with this person, but this is David Pasque. And his biological age is 38. 38. But his real age is 61. And so how do I know this? I know it because he takes part in the Rejuvenation Olympics. What is the Rejuvenation Olympics? It's an online platform and you can upload your epigenetic data to see how your real biological age is, which is something different than your actual age. And these Rejuvenation Olympics showcases how much younger you are compared to your actual age. And the more difference, the higher you are in the ranking. It's the Olympics for rejuvenation. It was started by somebody called Brian Johnson. You may have heard of him. He's again my age. His biological age today is 37 years old. But he has the ambition to become 18 again. He has about 30 doctors and healthcare experts that run around him every day. In 2 years' time, he's taken about 35,000 images of his bowels. He has electromagnetic pulses in his pelvic floor. He has weekly acid peels. He even gets the blood of his son injected into his veins to feel younger again, to become younger again. It's no longer just about being old because people don't want to be old anymore. We try to reverse age right now. And so I was talking about personal transformations. I was talking about how the way that we go about aging is changing. And so today, it's no longer just about, I don't want to look old, and I'm looking for anti-aging products. No. It's also no longer just about, I don't want to feel old and look for ways to age well. It's even about how can we reverse age, because we don't want to be old anymore. So we are looking into transforming things that we never transformed ourselves. Aging was taken for granted. Now it is not anymore. We want to transform ourselves. This is the first thing. The second thing I want to show you in the way that we transform society and transform the world is looking at society, social transformations. More than ever, we realize that there's a massive diversity in the world. We realize that we need to take care of the different voices and the different types of people out there. We realize there's a lot of geopolitical conflicts, wars even, and we want to have an opinion about it. We want to voice or express our opinions about it. We realize there's a lot of social injustice, and also there, we're not happy with it. We realize that today, thanks to social media, we can do a lot of stuff. We can change society, and we can transform this social construct, because we can fight for women. We can fight for social injustice. We can fight for Black power, LGBTQIA, or peace. Right now, thanks to social media again, we are transforming parts of society that we've never been able to transform. We want to create a new social fabric. We are changing things that in the past we never were able to do so. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that we are focused on social transformations. But there's a third thing as well, and that's planetary transformations, which is a very important one, which you see a lot around us. Because we realize that there's a climate change happening. And it's very dramatic. And we realize that there is no plan B. And that's why a lot of people come onto the streets, like Extinction Rebellion, saying like, we need to act now because this is our last chance. If we don't act now, things will go very sour. And you know, in a way, they're 100% right. Because if we look at the biodiversity in our guts, if we look at the biodiversity in nature, then we can realize and we can notice that 80% is already lost. So people start realizing more and more that we are nature. We need to take care of nature. And we start realizing it by looking at all the articles that we can read about microplastics. We can find microplastics in almost every single human being deep in their lungs. But we can also find microplastics in fish who live 150 meters below sea level. Microplastic is everywhere. We are nations, and we start understanding that there are no healthy people on a sick planet. And that is what Extinction Rebellion is talking about. They come on the streets, they block the streets to really make sure that people understand that this is now the time to react. This is why they're also using the hourglass as a symbol. But it doesn't have to be so negative. You could also try to impact the world yourself instead of going onto the streets. This is what people do more and more. People go to Thailand, for example, to clean beaches because there's a lot of dirty beaches with a lot of plastic on it, and people travel to clean beaches there. You can even go one step further, and this is what Boyan Slat did. When he was 17, he was scuba diving in Greece, and he noticed there was a lot of plastic bags in the ocean. And so he said, we need to solve this. And by the age of 22, he created this ocean cleanup machine, which is now being deployed around the world, even has a river cleanup machine to make sure that all the plastic in the oceans and the river are being pulled out of it. He found the money, he found the tools, and he created something, a non-for-profit organization that actually makes the world a better place. We are focused on transforming society, transforming ourselves, but also transforming the planet more than we've ever done before. Because we have that technology. We want to have that impact because we realize that now is the time to do so. We're at that tipping point. That's why I said in the early 2020s actually, when I was writing a newsletter to my followers, I said, this is a transformational 20s. We start realizing that we are in between that world that we've created, which is a world full of crisis, and the world that we want to live in, which is a more healthy, more sustainable one. And this is what I wrote about in my second book, The Transformation Economy. And because it's such a big change, what you need to realize is that it changes society in a way that it also changes the economy. It's a new economic reality. The transformation economy is a new economic reality. And that new economic reality makes that transformations, which are so important for all of us, creates the most meaningful value for customers. And this is something that businesses need to understand, because this is what their customers are looking for. Now the question is, what is meaningful value? Now there's two words there, and I want to go deep dive into each of these words. Start with meaningful. What does meaningful mean? Well, there's a research actually annually by Havas who looks into what meaningful means for customers. And so in 2023, this came out. 72% of people globally said that being good for society and the planet is key for brands. They also said that 71% of them said that they need to improve the health and well-being of their customers as well. These are the two most important things for brands today, according to this Havas research, which was done globally. And the person behind it, which is Seema Patel, she's the managing director of the Global Intelligence Group at Havas. She said that companies now must focus to address the customer's deepest needs. We are going into that me economy, is what she's calling. Me economy, trying to answer the customer's deepest needs. That is what meaningful means. Now the question is, how can you create value from it? How do you create value really? And this is what I try to explain with some of the Next slide. So if you really want to create value, this is how you do it. It's a simple value creation model where you go from commodities, you turn commodities into products, and those products you can turn into services. This is how value is created. A service costs more, it's more valuable for your customer than a product. A product is more valuable than commodities. And there's one industry who did it really, really well, and that is the travel industry. And I'll showcase how value creation was done in the travel industry. Because think about it, traveling used to be just being away from home, and anybody could basically do it. It was a commodity. But at a certain point, people started renting caravans or houses. It was a product. It's something that you bought for a while. You could rent it, right? In the 1960s, it evolved into a service. You might have heard of Club Med, for example. They were pretty much the first one. And the service was not just that you would rent a place, but you actually pay to have a full service. You didn't need to pay anything else. You can sit by the pool and sip cocktails all night long, all day long. Your food was included, and so everything was a service. This is what people wanted in the 60s. That changed again in the 90s, because people were looking for experiences. They wanted to go horseback riding somewhere in Poland. They wanted to visit Iceland. They wanted to go on a whiskey trip in Ireland, whatever. This is how value was created in the travel industry. They went from commodities to products to services, the Club Med era, to in the 90s to experiences. This was the experience economy that we saw in the travel industry in the 90s. This is what the experience economy is about. But it doesn't stop there. You can create more value than experiences in the travel industry. People now today are not just looking for an experience, they are looking for a transformation. People don't travel to be away from home or to have a good experience. They travel to return home and feel transformed. And this is what you have in, for example, this place in Mexico, where you have a personal holistic health coach who will guide you through your day, who will help you what to eat, who will help you with meditation or yoga lessons, who will make sure that you have the right walk that you can do, making sure that when you return home after that stay there, that you feel totally transformed. And this might be a very extreme example, but realize that 90% of the travel industry today already goes to wellness trips. 19%. People climb the Kilimanjaro to feel humble, to feel transformed. In the 60s, there were hardly any people who climbed Kilimanjaro. Today, about 30,000 people climb the Kilimanjaro every year. This is the type of transformations people are looking for. We also talked about this, how people go to Thailand to feel transformed by cleaning up the beaches. They help in transforming the planet by doing so. People are looking for transformations. They're looking to transform themselves, society, or the planet. And this is the ultimate value that we can create today, and this is what is happening in the transformation economy. Businesses must create value that is in line with their customer needs for transformations. How does this create really value? Let me go to the gym industry for that, the fitness industry. You can buy this product for about 20 euros, right? And you can work out your entire life. Now, if you go to a gym, you would have to pay 20 euros a month to work out there. But it's a service because they already bought it for you. And you are willing to pay 20 euros a month instead of 20 euros for your entire life. Now, since about 10, 15 years, what we've noticed is spinning classes. And spinning classes are experiences. And for that experience, you're not willing to pay 20 euros per month, but you're even willing to pay 20 euros per session. This is how value was created in the gym industry. We went from products to services to these experiences that are these spinning classes. But you can go one step further again, because in the last 5 to 7, 8 years maybe, you might have noticed the growth of personal coaches. And personal coaches, they bring transformations. It's not just a great, enjoyable experience. No, a personal coach will listen to your personal aspirations. What is important to you? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain stability? You want to gain strength? Whatever it may be, he or she will help you to transform yourself. And you are not willing to pay 20 euros per session, but you are willing to pay 60 euros per session. This is how value is created in the gym industry. This is how the transformation economy is manifested in the gym industry. We go from products to services, from services to experiences, and from experiences to transformations, customer transformations, which are experiences that make you feel a better, healthier, or a happier person. And that's the very core of the transformation economy that I'm talking about. If you want to make customer transformations yourself, you will need 3 ingredients to really be able to serve these customer transformations. And let me show you this by going to a very classic main example that all of us deal with every day. And that is, what will we eat tonight? Well, there's 3 ingredients here. If people think about what they will eat. First of all, there's a need. We need food. Maybe we need multiple foods. Maybe we need some inspiration on how to do it. This is the first thing that is out there. And if you, as a company, manage to meet these needs, well, you can create wonderful products or services. But that's not enough, because people also have expectations, because they only deal with your business a small part of the day. For the rest of their day, they're dealing with lots of other situations where potentially they might have great experiences, like with Amazon or Netflix or Siri or ChatGPT, whatever. And in all of those experiences throughout their day, they build customer expectations. And so when they are buying food, thinking about what they will eat tonight, they might have these exact expectations. They might expect personalization. They might expect it to be delivered to their homes. And if you can manage to meet those expectations, you can create a customer experience. There's market needs and there's customer expectations. Meet both of them and you create a customer experience. But of course, we want to go to these customer transformations. And for that, you need a third element, a third ingredient, and that is the aspirations. Why would they desire it? Now, we talked about this, right? 72% of people say that brands need to be good for society and planet. 71% of people said that brands need to help them improve their health and well-being. Well, these are the exact aspirations that I'm talking about. And if you look at supermarkets, they're already full focus on it. Kroger in the States, well, they have clinical dietitians in their stores to help you explain what the nutritional value is of the different things that you can buy there. Because we aspire to know what we're eating. We want to comprehend. In the Netherlands, there's Jumbo, and they've noticed that there's a lot of old people who just want to have a chat when they go to supermarkets. And so what they do is they have a slow cashier desk where old people can go and where you can actually have a meaningful connection with somebody behind the cashier. Obviously, there's things like HelloFresh who can help you with your calmness. You don't want to have stress about what do we need to eat, and I don't know. They will provide you with the right recipes and everything in-house that will be delivered to your door. It will provide you calmness. If you are a sporter, they can have or provide you with specific meals that provide you energy. They will listen to your life aspirations. And so in this transformation economy, these aspirations are the new needs. And that's not a coincidence, if you ask me. Because if you look at the hierarchy of needs in the world, then we can realize that somehow the basic needs and our social needs are largely fulfilled. Our functional and emotional needs are largely fulfilled. And if you think about the Maslow pyramid and the theory that comes with it, it means that people will go to the top of that pyramid. They will become more aspirational. They will have self-actualization needs. And so today, people are more than ever aspirational. They want to become the best version of themselves. And you can see this really well if you look at retirement. Now, older people might have said in the past, in the recent past even, when they retired, they would say, listen, I worked my entire life, now it's time for me. I will do that hobby I never got the time for doing. I will make that travel I always wanted to do. And they really want to take the time for them. They want to become that version of themselves that they always wanted to become. If you look at youngsters today, they don't wait until retirement to do that. They will travel already today and do the stuff that they want to do. They may maybe turn their hobby into a professional job because they want to become the best version of themselves. Now, already in 2015, this evolution, this focus on aspirational needs, self-development needs, well, trendwatching.com said that this is the future of consumerism. People will buy products based on these aspirational needs. But what are these aspirational needs? Well, aspirations are your personal priorities, your dreams, your values to become the best version of yourself. And of course, if you think about aspirations, the first thing that comes to mind is that we need to become better. We need to become a better version of ourselves. We need to improve ourselves. Maybe we want to simply have some more energy. That is very often what comes along if you think about aspirations. It's about improving. It's about healing maybe, building strength, having some more creativity or looking good, whatever it may be. What we noticed in recent years is that this changed because we were so much focused on improving ourselves by linking aspirations with improvement that actually we forgot that maybe in our quest to become the best version of ourselves, we forgot what is best for us. And so aspirations is no longer just about improvement. We are entering, since about 4 or 5 years, an era where aspiration has a lot more moderation. It's not just about improvement, it's also about prevention. It could be about acceptance, or it could be about just enjoyment. And in my last book, Trends in the Transformation Economy, I explain what these life aspirations are. I've identified 24 of those that literally explain what is most important to all of us. And you know, there's one industry who does it really well, who applies each one of these aspirations almost in the way that they sell their products to their clients. And that is the supplement business. Because you can find supplements for anything. You can find supplements against hair loss. You can find supplements to boost your confidence. You can find supplements to relax or maybe even to get you more energy. They really understood really well what they were selling there. They were selling something that meets the aspirations of people. And so in my book, you can work with that life aspiration model, as I like to call it, that has 24 different aspirations to understand where and how you need to speak to what is important, the deepest needs of your customers. And more we see tons and tons of companies trying to help customers in the pursuit of their life aspirations. Have a look at these products. This is, the zero alcohol drinks that we see. There's a lot of fasting going on. We have circadian lightning, which adapts depending on whether it's day or night. And all of these products cater to one thing, and that is improving the energy of people. People aspire to have more energy today, and all of these products cater to that. But there's something else. Let me show you another example. This is, for example, Colgate, who helps you to meditate a little bit while you're brushing your teeth. Or you can manage your notifications in your smartphone. Or you can even put your smartphone in this taupe, as you can see, to not be interrupted, to completely disconnect. Because people look for nothingness. They want to hear, see, and feel nothing sometimes because we are so much bothered with all of these notifications and all of this information, all of this noise, that we are ready to pay to have nothing. Silent trains is one great example of this nothingness trend, this aspiration that people have. Finally, another one could be related to Lego for adults or the functional fragrances that help you to relax because people are looking for this calmness. Aspirational needs are the future of consumerism. Trendwatching already said it in 2015. And that's not a surprise if you think about it today because we live in a society and a world even that has a lot of crises. And that's why I believe that we are at this tipping point between the multi-crisis world that we've created and the healthy, more sustainable one that we aspire to live in. And that is exactly why people are focused on transformation, on transforming themselves, society, or the planet. So you as a company, what you can do is you can really create the ultimate value here. because your customers are looking for these transformations. And that is the value that you can create in this transformation economy. Customer transformations is the experiences that make your customers feel a better, healthier, and happier person. It's the ultimate value. And for that, you have 3 ingredients that you need to serve to your customers. First of all, you need to meet their needs, obviously. But then also, you need to understand what their expectations are and help them pursue their life aspirations. These expectations are really related to the other experiences that they have in their lives. And they really expect that same good, enjoyable experience with your offering. But they also want to see their deepest needs answered, their life aspirations. Because that is most important for all of them. Health and happiness is the single most important thing in our lives. And that is the core of the transformation economy. It's a new economic reality where actually health, well-being, and happiness matters most. This is what people are looking for. My name is Christophe Jauquet. I am a keynote speaker and an author. I help business to innovate for a healthier future. Thank you for watching.